just about to head over again on the north side of Sydney, so that means I have to cross back into Middle Earth for me. And it's quite cold and windy. I'm layered up. I've got all the thermals going on today, which it's the first time I've brought them out this winter. Generally, winter's not that cold in Australia. We're wusses compared to how cold it can get. I know with my American and European friends, because I have ridden over there and I do know what cold is, and this ain't cold, but I'm out of practice. It's a bit chilly. So I'm over to a launch of Mutt motorcycles, and I'm going to split this video up into two parts this weekend because I figure 20 minutes is almost too long for a video. I know when I'm looking at YouTube stuff, if I see something more than 10 minutes, I sort of think, I'll get back to that, or maybe I just don't get back to it. So I think 10 minutes and less is the way to go. So this weekend's mixed bag of goodies will be in part 1 and part 2. And there she is. I still haven't frigged around with my camera angles. I completely forgot about that. Harbour Bridge from the south side heading over to the north side. Super windy today. They predict some very strong winds. I've got no idea really what I'm walking into. As usual. Mutt motorcycles. Can you see that? They're still setting up. Yeah. So, hello. Oh, can I? I'm a bit... Gosh, she's such a poser, this old broad I'm on. I've added bits and pieces here and there. But my philosophy is that, the bigger she looks, the smaller I look, so I don't have to go on diets anymore. So I'm with Jim now, who is an avid motorbike rider, and you're going to show me...
A Hodaka Wombat.
A Hodaka Wombat. And before we go out into the wind, what is the history behind an Hodaka Wombat?
Hodaka started in 1964, ended in 78. American designed bike, made in Japan. They only ever made dirt bikes. There were 150,000 Hodakas ever made. I have 2 of the 3 that are road registered in New South Wales.
Wow, the Hodaka Wombat. The little yellow terror.
I call it mellow yellow.
Mellow yellow.
So said Donovan.
Yes, I loved a bit of Donovan back in the day. Bob Dylan era, that whole folky thing. There you go, the Hodaka Wombat. What can you tell me about the motor size and stuff, Jim?
125 cc's.
Yep.
It's pre-mix, got to mix your own fuel.
Oh.
I run it at 1 to 40. This one is a compilation of Hodakas, like many surviving ones are. It's a 76 frame, 72 motor. It has been converted to 12 volts. It has electronic ignition. It has a performance Circle F exhaust. And it has a 1969 Yamaha toolbox mounted to the back, which I had chromed.
Very nice. A chrome toolbox. And there it is. The Hodaka Wombat. I'm here with Ian.
How you going?
Ian, and by the way, you need to say hello to Greg.
Hi
All
guys.
those pictures you see of me at bike shows is usually taken by Greg here,
Whoa.
who's a prolific photographer.
Can't help
He's at
myself.
every bike event going to man. So now,
I do build bikes.
old bikes or just what sort of bikes?
Any bikes I can make from little bits and pieces to make an interesting little bike.
Okay, we're going to have a look at some of Ian's
Come
interesting
along.
bits and piece bikes.
But it's made from lawnmowers and it's made from push bikes and old whippersnipper motors.
Oh my god, that's I love this. It's got a bit of a steampunk look.
Oh, it
That
is.
was right up my style.
This is a carbide lamp. So you put water in the top and it drops it onto rocks and it makes gas, which you like.
That's fabulous. And so Ian.
So this one's another old lawnmower. We'll give it a test, shall we?
Yep.
Oh.
There you go. I love it.
And this one starts with a crank handle. So it's just like an old car.
Oh, okay.
It won't start.
No. And you do that the old-fashioned way. Yeah. Okay.
And
I
it's,
love it. I love the tank. Look at it.
The tank, that's all off an old lawnmower. And there's bits and pieces from old cars made in Birmingham and bits and pieces from all sorts of old parts I found in the shed.
Now, tell me about Girl Talk.
Well, Girl Talk, we launched in late 2017. Girl Talk is motorbike support for women. And advice. So we train women specifically.
In operation for a couple of years now.
Yep, a couple of years, and it's growing too.
Yeah,
it's
it's
amazing the amount of women that are coming through.
Well, I'll get all your details and slip them in along when I edit. There'll be something travelling along the bottom of that screen. Join up. It's like a membership-based thing.
Well, we do have an app.
Yeah.
We do have an app. It's free to download.
Yep.
We have an emergency button.
Ah, that's a good idea.
The emergency button will help you if there's ever a breakdown. The carrier that's on the app will come and help you out if you break down.
Fantastic. That's a great idea. So, because when I break down, I sort of look for the first bloke that I can pick up. It's a good way to meet guys. But now I've got a hot button I can go to.
Yeah.
Okay.
The emergency button.
When I get desperate. Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks,
Girl Talk.
Yeah, Girl
and here we are at
.cc.
girltorque.cc. So tell me now what you've got here.
So it was originally a Kawasaki Vulcan 800 Classic, typical cruiser.
That's a great looking little bike.
Yeah, it's a lovely little thing. And I said up to 100 kilometres an hour, it'll chase down anything.
It looks fantastic.
And there's only one in the world.
There's only one, this one.
Yeah, this one.
The only one in the world, huh? So a bit of a change of plans tonight, or today. I was at the Mutt motor launch, and I got a message from my daughter to say that my 3-year-old granddaughter went through a glass window, and they were at the hospital and picking out shards of glass out of her head. And anyway, so I immediately left the event, Sydney, to come to the Blue Mountains, which is where I'm now leaving. She's fine. I think Mum's a bit more shaken up, as was I. But it took me about an hour and a half to get from where I was to the place in the mountains, which is not bad actually. It's normally probably a 2-hour ride. So it's now getting dark. It's freezing cold. There's been gale force winds. So I'm going to take you down the mountain now, back into Sydney. I won't put you through the horrible highway stuff, and I need to get fuel, but I'll wait till I get probably down a little bit and just take this run.
Read what I sow, I harvest your lust, a hunger insatiable for a soul to crush. Below me, faceless masses not to be seen. Just say the word and I'll make you believe. I'm a master plan of what I am. I am who I am. I am who I am.
Well, I'm home. Much later than I expected, and I felt a couple of chugs on Calamity, and my petrol gauge wasn't. I mean, it was getting low on fuel. I had the low fuel thing, but I thought, oh well, I'll just get off this freeway and I'll get fuel. No, she started chugging, so I quickly took the next exit, and just got off that. Thankfully, just got near a side road and just completely ran out of fuel. That has never happened to me before, ever. Got to a fuel station. I was only a couple of blocks away. I was nearly there, and this gentleman, Raymond, gave me a lift back to the bike and waited till it started. God bless him. So there's chivalry still about. So thank you, Raymond, for getting me back to my bike with a can of fuel. Anyway, so that's an interesting day now.
I'm judging, jury, make your